All right, here he is, Nick Nocturnal. Nick, what's going on, my man?
Nothing much. Just keeping busy and trying to exist. How about you?
I'm doing all right. You know, it's crazy. You're a very busy guy. I think I've gotten at least three press releases or something in the last few weeks, just
Yeah,
of different things you got going on, even outside of YouTube and Twitch with Termina and the trap metal project, Nick Knock.
yeah. Nikki's staying busy. She's the best. She's she basically deals with very recently. I started working with her because I've never had PR or any of that stuff. But yeah, and she just kind of handles all of my projects, which there's a few.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot going on. I want to get into Nick Knock first and the song that recently dropped, Industry.
Hmm.
If you're not familiar with the song, some of the lyrics are "fuck the industry. I don't want to be just another name lost in a spreadsheet. Fuck the industry. Double back on me. Once you see it, you'll believe. You won't disagree." And I find it interesting because you said before that pre-pandemic, you didn't feel that labels and industry personnel, things like that, took content creators and reactors and things like that too seriously. And then over time, that's sort of I guess you've kind of reversed that course, and now you've mentioned that you get hit up from labels. You're a part of the marketing campaign now, so to speak, and then you come out swinging, with this giant "fuck you" to the music industry. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like that wasn't directed at any of the obviously people I work with. The people I work with are all great. All the A&Rs, the management, and all that. They're incredible people, and they have you know great intentions, and they get their bands to where they need to be. And some bands do need labels sometimes because sometimes they literally have music, then they have no money. They don't know how to fund. They're bad maybe at business. They don't know how to money manage, and they're bad at organization. That's when you'd probably actually need a label. That was more so directed at just all of throughout the 8 years of doing this, all of the stuff I would see from the sidelines because it's coming from the content creator world. I mean, it's just you. You have to figure out how to do it. It's just you. You go. You go. You go. You don't get in touch with press and things like that. Like just
Right.
like there's now managers involved. Like if you want to collab with someone, you DM them, right? It's like things like that. It's not like, hey, let's go through a manager a lot of the time, especially at the level I was at, which was much smaller. And then growing and as I grew my channel in general and started getting into the industry, just seeing all these stories and seeing so many talented bands, talented people just you know get taken advantage of in different ways, and just such weird stories of how things will work and how things would be covered up just for the sake of publicity and all this. It's just that's the stuff that I would be like, wow. And I'd see some of my friends get completely destroyed by the industry, some people that are just very wholesome, just good people that would get destroyed in that sense. And just again, even be more directed just how the standard is set within a lot of contracts, within a lot of things within the industry, how it's like, not that it's necessarily the people that are implementing it or the businesses that are working with it, or the bands that are signing with it, but just how these are the actual standards that a band. I didn't even know for the longest time that a band sign away as their master. I was like, that was a foreign concept to me as like a YouTuber. Like someone else owns your shit. Like what the fuck, Until
Yeah, no kidding.
it's like things like that where I was like, this is weird. I get why it's there, and I get why it was initially there way back when you couldn't record yourself, you couldn't distribute yourself, you couldn't do a lot of this stuff. But how it's still as intense as it is nowadays, and how bands, there's so many huge bands I know that make no money, but like they got like 500,000 monthly listeners plus, but they're making zero money, and it's like, damn, like it's the industry as a whole. I'm not just saying F labels, F this. I'm saying the entire industry and the meta and how it's all shaped. It really is like only the top of the top kind of win, and everyone else just kind of gets wrecked behind, including bands. And I also think the bands too should get more self-aware of how to do some of these things themselves, even if they do sign with labels. So they know their value, they understand how much they're bringing to the table, how much money is being made, and how much they should actually make from that based on how much work they're putting in. So it was a very generalized kind of thing like that, but not directed at any specific label or anything, especially the ones I work with because they're great.
Well, some of these deals that bands have, like these 360 deals, they're just fucking insane, where they even, have final say on, who you hire as an agent and all sorts of stuff, and I mean, you basically, can't take a piss without their permission.
Yeah, and I again, it's and I don't I like obviously there's a lot of corruption and bad practices being put there, but also it's also buyer beware for the bands. It's one of those things where it's like, that's also part of the song. Double back and we kind of like see what's actually happening, and like be aware. Like, and if you still need to do this, then like, yeah, do your thing, right? Like I said, some bands like they have zero money, right? They don't know how to use social media. And there's some things where it's like, okay, you need to learn how to do these things. And then there's some that are like, oh, you are just in an unfortunate circumstance, which you literally have all this talent, but you actually can't do any of these things, which, yeah, you'll need a label, right? You need things to push. But even, yeah, just, I guess, set metas of how things are run. That's really what that song was kind of going at, and how fucked up. It's just, and then how fucked up a lot of like the really extreme things that do actually happen, like the actual shady things that happen that I've seen, that I've heard about, that my friends have been dealt with, that huge bands I've been, that I grew up listening to have been dealt with, and where it's like, wow, like it is. And just seeing how different it is from the content creator space. Content creator space is not perfect. Hell no. But that was basically it. A content creator mainly coming in with that perspective into this in music industry, and me really looking around these past couple years being like, this is this is what happens. Like, why? That was really kind of the directed point of that.
You go on in that song to say, faking virality is a formality, fucked up mentality, far from reality. Name of the game is unoriginality. Upload a TikTok to score a fatality. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Do you think, with obviously social media, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff being, essentially king of the world right now, so many, kind of like Halsey, what was it, a few weeks ago or whatever, coming out with the whole like, oh, my label says I need to have a viral video and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that is sort of, this almost forced attempts to make a viral video have kind of cheapened, the music industry? I mean, of course, it's all about press and getting your name out there and stuff. But, I go back to, I don't know if you've ever seen the documentary Supermensch about Shep Gordon, who manages Alice Cooper. Way back, in the 70s or whatever, Alice was playing I think he had a stadium headliner booked, but it wasn't, I think they had sold like 100 tickets, and they were like, well, what the fuck? Like, we got to get this out there, otherwise we're fucked. So they had a truck. This was in London, I think. They had a truck. They paid the driver to go into Piccadilly Square and break down. And on the side of the truck, they had Alice Cooper naked with a snake wrapped around him, advertising the show. And then the show sold out. And to me, that's cool. And it's sort of, dangerous, I guess you might say, or something like that, as opposed to now, it just feels like, just forcing TikToks or whatever, just to, to sort of blow up. And it's not as genuine and organic, I guess, as it used to be.
Yeah, that line, that was a fun one. Where I was like, I wanted to spit something fast, and I was like, let's do this whole idea, which actually stemmed a bit from like that Halsey thing just happened actually. So I was like, oh, that's fun. Let's throw TikTok in here somehow, kind of, because like forcing virality and that engagement is what is like, it's so disconnected that I see a lot of businesses, and not just the music industry, but even on the content creator space, sometimes working with companies like that want to do pre-rolls and sponsored and dedicated videos, and how out of touch they are with actually their audience and like people they want to connect with and to get their product or to get their service, and how it's like this very analytical thing, but they're not including at all human behavior and psychology and these, consumption in general. They're just looking at pure numbers and treating it just as a number. And that's kind of it. And I get that they want to reach their bottom line, but also it creates, I feel like, this barrier and limits so much potential to actually create unique, natural, organic things that then also helps benefit and promote things the way they can be in this natural, content oriented way, where it's a win-win-win, instead of just, well, let's give some shitty content, but let's make it so it's something that we can make viral for the sake of it, just so we can sell a few things, instead of like actually making good content, providing value in the content space that actually does make something viral and does make people want to latch on and share it around naturally instead of these formulaic, things built in a lab of ways of how to go viral, which just are stupid. I'm as a person been doing this for 8 years, a lot of that stuff's dumb, and some people literally have it down to a science, and they can pull it off, and that's cool, and they can pull it off without actually creating good content or natural connection. But it's super gimmicky and it does not last. And you see the people that are even content creators in general that are still going strong, that are like, they know how to create viral video after viral video. It's because they know the formula, but they also know just how to connect with people as a consumer, as just a person, as a person that likes this stuff, and not just as a big corporate entity, essentially.
Well, and I feel like at some point, just the regular consumer, I mean, eventually, even if they're kind of into it at first or whatever, eventually people see through the bullshit, and
that's a big thing too. It's a lot of these sometimes corporate entities think people are dumb. I'm not saying everyone's super smart, right? I'm a dumbass, right? But it's like, it's that idea that like, oh, we'll do this very basic bitch thing, and it'll just easy viral because this other big band did it, and we're not going to release your song until you copy paste what this other big band did, even though it has nothing to do with how you connect with your fans and stuff like that. And they'll like it because they're just, other people like it, you know what I mean? Like, they just think consumers are kind of stupid in that sense, which also, it's that one line kind of sums up my workings in the YouTube content creator space, as well as seeing how the music industry has tried to tie that space as well through TikTok and all these newer things.
Well, and it's crazy. There's, YouTubers, not in the music world, but, in maybe they're, I don't know, entrepreneurs or whatever. And they have these crazy huge followings, and you watch their videos and, maybe you see a few and then you get sucked in. But then the more you watch, the more you start realizing, like, what is this guy even saying? They're just sort of like, you know what I mean? They're just saying like, buzzwords, so to speak, and it gets everybody stoked and excited, but they're not actually saying anything real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even myself as a content creator, I've fallen into that a few times, because it's just like, you do what you do and then you get comfortable doing it, and then you just assume, oh, you do it this way. You start to farm it in that sense, and then you start to lose, well, why is this actually good? And then when you start to get to the point of, wow, I wouldn't even, if you ever have a video, like, I wouldn't even watch this. I've had a few videos and I didn't put them out, and some videos I did put out that I'm like, wow, why did I put this out? This was shit. What's wrong with me? You know what I mean? And that intrinsically just didn't feel good. I was just like, I don't even care if it did well on views wise. Like, this is not good. Like, this is not something that, was worth these people's time that went and watched this, right? And that's something I value a lot, is the people who watch my shit or whatever it is, or listen to stuff, is like, to value their time. They could spend that 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes doing something way more productive, way more better, way more entertaining. But I'm the one who got that, and I wasted their fucking time. Like, that doesn't feel good, right?
How does it correlate when you when you film a video and you're like, man, I don't really like this, whatever, but you decide to put it out anyways? I mean, do you have a pretty good gauge on, if you're not feeling it, does it not do as well as something that maybe you felt a lot better about?
Well, there's two different ones. There's like, I'm not feeling it, and there's one where it's like, I don't know, because this is something different and new, right? It's like, there's the one that's fear because it's new and something different, and I don't know because it's awkward in that sense if this will work, right? But usually in those cases I am feeling it, and that's why I still put it out, because I'll be like, well, this is kind of weird. Like, I've had a few videos like trying to make a trap metal song and whatever thing, or trying to do math rock, where like, I almost didn't put some of these videos out because I'm like, well, this is fun for me as a consumer. Like, this is driven because I thought this was an interesting topic, and then I watched the video, it's funny, but will it hit with the audience I've already kind of built? And a lot of the times they do, actually, and they hit better than some of my normal videos, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty surprising. But when it comes to videos where I'm like, I don't know if this will hit, majority of the time I'm just like, I'm not gonna do this. But then sometimes I've been like, well, maybe I'm just being too hard on myself, right? Like, because sometimes maybe I'll do something, let's say on Twitch, right, and then I've already experienced the content, and then I have to edit it down, and then maybe I'm just drained, right? Which has happened sometimes too, where it's like, I'm just drained, so when I finish the video, I'm like, I don't even want to watch this anymore. And if I put it out, and then sometimes it's some of my best performing videos and people love it, and then I'll watch it like a few days later and I'll be like, wow, this is fucking funny. So it is really hard to gauge, you know, but there are some times where I'm like, this is fucking bad, and I just scrap it. Like, just straight up, like, this is bad, and I already put effort into it, but I'm like, no, like, this isn't me tired. This is a bad concept. This is a bad video. And it's as simple
Keep
as
these
that.
videos, or do you just say fuck this and get rid of it?
I just get rid of it. I mean, there's somewhere on my hard drive, you know, that's it. But yeah, no, I scrap it. I don't revisit it. I'm like, this is bad. I don't want to deal with it. I want to feel good when I put out a video. I don't want to feel like shit. So I rather just put out nothing usually when that happens.
Well, let's go back to the beginning of YouTube. I know you started playing guitar when you were like 9 years old. You know, it started out, I think you said you were big into GNR and all that kind of stuff from,
Yes,
you know, Guitar Hero and whatnot.
exactly.
But you know, when did you start, and why did you start? I know you've said in another interview, I think I saw that you know, it made you it gave you confidence when you started uploading stuff, and you know, people were getting into it, that it made you feel like a better you know, guitar player. But is that why you started on YouTube, just to, you know, it's sort of a confidence builder, or was it more of like a, you know, let's put this out there and, you know, let's just fuck around and see what happens?
It was not a confidence builder because the videos were not the best and people were very mean. So if anything was counter that. But it was just releasing original music, actually. That was the first thing I started, actually, technically, as a SoundClouder, which is really funny. I've gone full circle into a SoundCloud trap rapper dude now. But I just uploaded like original music on SoundCloud. I never really touched YouTube, even though I watched YouTube and consumed it. And then I saw a few people like doing guitar covers, which I love, like Killer Buckeye back in the day. Some dude named Finn, not Finn McKenty, is an older dude, like Finn Maxwell or something. As well as like Angel Vivaldi, some of the original like instrumental dudes like Angel Vivaldi, Sithue, Shades of Black. And I was like, oh, like these people are like, some of them are doing covers, some of them are doing original music, some of them are doing both. Like, this is interesting. Like, I already like learning songs. Like, okay, like, why don't I just post the songs I learned? Because that was what I was doing anyways, just learning songs. And do it as a way to also help promote my original music. So like something I'm already doing to help promote something that I'm really passionate about, which is my original music. So that was actually how it all started. And the first thing I think on my channel was actually not even a cover. I think it was an original song way back when.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So that's actually how it all started, was literally just that. And it was not a confidence booster. It was definitely not, because, you know, people are that. And hey, I'll go back and watch some of those videos and I'll be like, wow, I fucking sucked. Like, thank God these people were at least even that point. Like, yeah, it's kind of, you know, it wasn't nice, but like definitely made me want to get better and like woke me the fuck up, because oh my God, I was bad back then. And I thought I was like doing these covers like all fine and stuff. Like, nah, dude. It was not.
And before this thing kind of took off, and you know, now this is your career, you were in school, right?
Yeah, I have a commerce degree, which I was supposed to be an accountant, really, actually. And it was funny because I went to university for accounting, and you know, in business in general, they kind of make you take business in general, and then you specialize in like accounting courses. Sure. All the accounting courses I was failing, but everything else I was doing like okay. So as when and this is a big pivotal point in my life, actually. You know, I was doing all that. The accounting thing wasn't my thing, but I was doing well in all the other business courses because I like business. Like I like business because it's psychology without having to write essays, which I hate fucking writing essays and that stuff. But like I like human behavior, studying human behavior, psychology. Why do people do what they do? Basically, that big thing, which that's what business is, a lot of it, right? And they're just putting numbers and values to it. So yeah, I did that for a couple years, and I think it was like 2 years in, trying to get my accounting degree, even though I was doing terrible in accounting, and my like a counselor there or something had scheduled a meeting with me, and they were like, "Hey, why are you doing this? Because you're fucking failing accounting. Like, why are you even here?" And then it was so funny because that was the same day that Architects released their song Doomsday, and I knew that even though I was in that call thing right there, and basically I was flunking out of university or flunking out of my major, all I could think about was going home and covering the new Doomsday song. And I was like, yeah, okay, there's something wrong with me. Like, you know what I mean? That's when I like, there was this like switch in my head where I was like, okay, like I I need to be doing something else. Like, this is not my calling, you know, going to for accounting or whatever. But essentially what happened was I got kicked out of the accounting part, but I just finished a commerce degree. And because I just wanted to finish it. It's like, look, I started this shit. Like, let's finish it. At least I have a degree if this all fails anyways. And then I graduated, and I literally told my mom, I was like, you know, I'm going to wait till December, because you graduated in summer, if I can make any money at all doing this. And that time I was already doing YouTube for 4 years. Literally the first 3 years I have my pay stubs. I got 50 cents basically every month, because like everything was copyright content. So that was fun. And then basically I started to actually grind, and I made like a minuscule amount of money, but I made enough money to be like, okay, this is something by winter where I could help pay like rent. I was living at my mom's at that point. And basically ever since then I just went fuck it, all in, and just never stopped. And now I'm here, oh god, how many years later? 4 years later. Yeah.
Well, I know you've said before, I think, that your mom told you that, you know, as long as you were in school, she would make sure that you never went homeless or anything.
Oh yeah.
But what was her, you know, reaction when you said, you know, I think I'm gonna be a YouTuber? Was she supportive, or was she was like, well, I don't know?
she was like, look, you got your degree, and that was the big thing she cared about. Do what you want, you know. She was like, okay, go try this. Like, she was supportive. She wasn't like, hey, yeah, like you got this, go kick ass. She was like, okay, you know, sure, that, you know, and that's all I needed. That was fine. That was great. So, and then when she started to see, oh, like he's starting to make some money and like making a living, and no, not making the fucking Twitch streamer YouTuber money, by the way, people that think I'm fucking multi-millionaires, hilarious. But you know, make enough money to go get a place and rent, and you know, pay expenses and just exist. She was like, okay, you know, and especially because the world started to crash down a little bit more. This was still before COVID though, and all that. But it was like, oh, like if I wanted to get, it was so funny. If I wanted to get a real job right out of university, and all I could do was really bookkeeping. Well, I could do marketing and all that stuff, right? I had a commerce general business degree. It's a fancy word for business, right? But I could get like any of those, right, with an actual university degree. And I would get Canadian starter minimum wage. And if you wanted, even to get those positions, you needed like 7 years of experience for a lot of those jobs. And I was like, okay, so even if I want it, it's harder in this case for me to get a real job than it is for me to do this YouTube thing.
Well, so, a lot of these entry-level jobs, you have to have, you know, like you said, X amount of years of experience, and it's like, well, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I already was doing bookkeeping for my mom because she is an accountant, or she was, which was cool. Like I got to learn that just on the side, basically. But even that, I was like, yeah, you need to have your master's, or you needed to do like 5 years to just do entry-level bookkeeping. And I was like, yeah, so I'm gonna be homeless like if this doesn't work. It's like it doesn't matter. Even though I have my degree, I'm not gonna be able to do shit with it anyways. So fuck it. At least in Toronto, where I was living, and just there was no job. So I was like, all right, might as well do this. And so she started to understand that a bit too, anyways, and was like, all right, well, at least you're doing something, right?
Are you still in Canada, by the way?
Oh yeah. I am. I'm up here in the up north, up here in the what does Drake call it? The 401 or the 4? I don't fucking remember. The 4.
Where is that at?
The 4 or the 6. I don't know. It's some number Drake calls it. Yeah, I'm up here in the 6 or the 4, whichever one it is.
You know, I would think that these days a lot of kids are getting exposed to metal just from your channel, you know, and other, I guess, similar channels. And, you know, but prior to YouTube and all that kind of stuff, a lot of it was, you know, I don't know, magazines or TV, you know, like Headbangers Ball or, you know, whatever it was. And now, you know, they're getting on YouTube and they're seeing, you know, went from being, you know, they would see, you know, famous musicians, you know, rock stars, whatever. And now, you know, they're kind of seeing just, you know, regular average people, you know, but have these crazy big followings and you know, doing all sorts of things. Like, you know, now you're doing a bunch of different collabs and things like that. Do you think that it sort of maybe gives kids like some false hope though? Like they think, well, just put a camera and you know, put some videos online and it's all good. you know, and they don't realize the amount of time and effort and grinding that goes into it, you know, because it feels more achievable than, you know, seeing, I don't know, Slash or something and being like, I could be that guy. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, it definitely, I mean, it's so funny because even when I got into it, being a YouTuber wasn't a job yet. Like, or a streamer too. That's hilarious, right? Like that wasn't a thing. You know, growing up, it was like, hey, you want to be a doctor or astronaut or fucking something useful to society. And now it's like, oh, kids are growing up and being like, I can't wait to, I want to be a TikToker. I want to be a fucking streamer. I want to be a YouTuber. And it's like, what the fuck happened? Like, I'm very scared for the next like 40 years, the next generation, because y'all ain't gonna have doctors and shit. Like, people are just gonna die and stuff. So like, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. But yeah, it is. I mean, it's first of all, you're instantly signing yourself up to be an entrepreneur, which I don't think a lot of people realize. Like that in itself is already a big step. Like there's a reason there's businesses, and there's a reason that people work at the businesses for the people who own the businesses. Because owning a business in any capacity, and that's what you're doing when you have a band, when you're in YouTube, when you're doing any of this, it's not like you do hours and you clock out. You are never done. You are absolutely
It's a
never done.
24/7 thing.
It's you are permanently working. It's just how it is. And you have to be very consistent and self accountable. You know, like if something doesn't go well or something doesn't get done, you literally can't blame anyone but yourself. Which is like a lot of people don't like that. They fucking hate that. They want something simple, where simple but harder in the sense of actual working. You know, physical, actual getting up and work and draining in that sense. You know, everyone has, a lot of people have 9 to 5s. And I have a lot of respect for those people because that's just fucking tough for a different reason than being a YouTuber or being an entrepreneur in general is tough, because it's just, being an entrepreneur is much more mentally just destructive and destroys you over time and drains the shit out of you. And, you know, 9 to 5, usually that's much more of a physical job. Sometimes it takes a lot more thinking. Obviously, if you're in an actual smart field, you do way more thinking than a fucking YouTuber does, right? But your job in this case, being an entrepreneur, revolves around your creativity, your knowledge, and a lot of these other things, which people aren't ready to sign up for when they do. They just see the dumbass doing the dances on the screen and they say, well, I can do that. And then they do it and no one cares. And then they're like, well, why? And they don't understand, well, why would they care? A lot of people don't ask themselves this question, like, well, why would you watch that? Why do you watch what you watch? Oh, because of this. Oh, because that person's relatable. Oh, because the concept made sense. Oh, because it was educational. Oh, because it was, you know, something about it, like storytelling, whatever it might be, that was unique and gave you a great unique perspective and made you addicted to watching something in that capacity. A lot of people don't understand that, and they don't think in that introspective way of, well, why do I consume content? Okay, well, now I'm the content creator, or trying to be. Well, why would people watch me? No one asked. A lot of people don't ask that question, especially when they start out. So they're setting themselves up to kind of just fail, because they just assume, oh, well, this is popular, so everyone's going to watch me do the popular thing, instead of asking why. Which again ties to the whole idea of human behavior and just how humans interact, psychology, all this, which is something that I was very grateful to start to understand. I didn't learn any of that shit in school. There was a lot of just, you know, I don't know. My mom's very business oriented and very psychology like that. So I think I learned a lot of that from her. But just doing this on my own too, you start to learn, you start to understand behavior. But yeah, it's like, that's the thing. Like a lot of these people just signing up to do this don't understand how much work it takes, how you're going to make no fucking money for like the longest time. Like, it's not like, oh, I made a viral video. Even if you make a viral video, that doesn't mean you're rich now. That's, you can fuck all. like if people don't really understand that. So yeah, it's a different world, and I want at the same time be encouraging but also realistic to people, especially when people say, hey, I want to try to be a YouTuber or try to be this, where I'm like, that's great, go do it, go try. Like, if your passion is this and you are literally willing to give up everything, time, fun, relationships sometimes to do this, and like this is your end all be all, and you're consistent and you'll wake up every day and you'll be happy just because you're doing this as your life, you'll probably succeed, especially if you're willing to learn and you're willing to adapt and all that. If you're a person that's like, oh man, I want to do this because it's fun for a week, and then it's like, oh, I kind of want to go hang out with all my friends like every day instead and do this, and like, I don't really feel like doing a video today, or I can't be like doing this, which can be fine, obviously, some days. But if it becomes a pattern, you ain't gonna.
You're not cut out for it.
You're gonna have a tough time. And honestly, just if you want to do that, like, go get it 9 to 5. Have a good life. Don't fucking be tortured every day of thinking what you have to do and if your video is going to be doing well. Like there's like incredible amount of benefits in this field. It's I was a perfect type of personality for this field because I was an introvert, didn't really have friends, and I just fucking love this stuff. Like I am addicted to it in that sense. But if you are a social person sometimes, unless you build your videos around hanging out with your friends, which some people do, which is great, it's just tough. It is fucking hard. And sometimes it might just be better to get the 9 to 5 and you clock out. Yo, rest of the night, so you get to hang out with your homies, have a good time, and you just go to work the next day and you get paid. You get a stable paycheck. That's a nice thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I mean, I own a business myself, so I don't even remember the last time I got a regular paycheck. So if you can, you can go out there and get one of those. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
No, one of the things that I feel like would be the hardest to do, but I think it's almost necessary to have any sort of longevity is, getting your audience to, care about you specific, you as a person, and not so much, obviously they come to your channel because they like your content or whatever, but if you can convert them to becoming an actual fan of you, I think that in the long term will help you out. And when you dropped I think it was that song Industry, you had said that was like number 2 or whatever in your when you upload a video and they rank like your
that was number 1. That was the
number 1
video I think I've ever had within that amount of time, which shocked the fuck out of me because it was also during a week that everyone released music. I also wasn't home, so I couldn't really like help promo and do the things I normally would, so that shocked the shit out of me. I cannot believe it did that well.
Do you feel that this audience that you've cultivated over the last few years, that you've sort of now that they're not so much just fans of the NIK Nocturnal channel, but they're fans of NIK Nocturnal, the actual guy?
Yeah, I mean, that's in the sense, I guess, especially over the years, I started to make my content more relatable because I started to be more me and not have to worry about I have to do this because it's doing well. I have to do this because this is the meta. I still do meta things. Obviously, I do reactions. I mean, but that's just something also I just enjoy doing. So I'm like, all right, hey, if it's the meta too, I'm like, whatever. Like, it's just, those coincide. That's fine. But yeah, I really go into my videos, especially, for the past couple years, getting more used to being comfortable with myself, with just being me and just being like, I'm a fan of this. That's why I'm doing it. Right. It's very natural in that sense. And I think people just can, I guess, relate maybe. When I check out a crazy breakdown and it goes hard as fuck, and like me as a fan, I'm legitimately fucking stoked. And I guess the people watching are also like, damn, like, yeah, man, me too. And they feel that relatability more so they can attach it to that. And if they like my personality, that's cool. Thanks. But like, unless I'm doing like a video where I'm doing a parody video, obviously, I don't try to be anything other than just, what I am. And if people fuck with it, cool. And if they don't, then I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. So I'm just like, all right.
Where do you think this infatuation with reaction videos comes from? Because I think if you would have said 20 years ago that all these watching people react to things is going to be this huge thing down the road, you'd be like, what the fuck? Is it do you think it's maybe just kind of relating to just a sort of average person, almost like hanging out with with a friend and like, oh, check out this new song, whatever? Or I do find the ones kind of funny where it's like a guy that's really only listened to rap or whatever starts listening to metal songs, and it's like, oh, it's kind of funny, it's interesting, because they supposedly never heard anything like it. But where do you think that infatuation comes from?
I think it's a couple of things. Number one is what you said, just like it's the same feeling you get when a new song comes out, you really like, you want to show it to your friend and see their reaction. It's the same feeling of like excitement and sharing that, and being able to just go to a channel where you can just watch, person you maybe enjoy their personality or whatever, and you relate to, see how they react to something and be able to relate to that and be like, oh yeah, dude, fuck yeah, he's gonna throw down when that part comes in. Oh, he's gonna do it. Come on, yeah, it's like. And so I think it's that, but also reaction channels, it depends what they do. Like that's even with myself, like I don't even consider myself a reaction channel. I react to things a decent amount, but I also commentate on things. I obviously am but people watch my channel nowadays and don't even know I'm a guitarist, which makes me laugh because I'm just like, all right.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh,
Wow.
still, I get so many people that are still like, wait, you play guitar? Wait, you're in a band? So, and that's fine. That's totally cool, right? Like you signed up to watch me look at breakdowns and have a good time. That's fine. But I think partially is that, and then the next one is also some people will go look for educational things, or some people will just want to reaffirm their biases of, oh, this song is good. I want to go see what this person thinks that I enjoy or respect or hate, and see what they think. Oh, they think it's good too. Okay, this is good, right? Like sometimes it's just that, and like I said, sometimes people also just want to like learn things. Like I know there's a few reaction channels that focus on just education, and the videos are super long, and that's cool, and people want to actually learn, oh, how do you play this, or like what gear are they using, or like how's the vocalist doing that, right? And that's fucking cool too. So it's I think it's a mixture of all those things, and they can be all together sometimes, or sometimes it can be one or the other. That really just gets people attached to wanting to watch reaction videos.
Well, it's crazy, like how much power, reactions have, because, I feel like, I'm sure you're familiar with the band Ginger.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what, obviously they had their whole thing going on over in Europe,
Hmm.
but over here, I mean, I used to work with the band. I know that, they sort of struggled to sort of break out over here. And then, they did that Pisces video, and
Yeah.
everybody just started reacting to it. And now I feel like that plays a big part in, the success that they've had over here.
Yeah, it's just part of it's like part of the marketing formula now. It's like that's literally part of PR. Like they'll hit up reactors. Like that's what they do now, which is cool, right? Because it's just this. It's not the same. It's a different. They're different but similar in the sense of how blogs work, right? It's like, hey, this is out. Like you're following this blog to keep track of music. Or you can follow this reactor to keep track of music, and you get a video and you get to see them how they talk about or maybe commentate on it, right? So it's like it acts a lot in a similar way, but they are definitely distinctively different. But it's just maybe a more relatable medium for people nowadays. So that's why it's like I get why they're part of the marketing formula, and also they don't get paid. I'm not. I mean, I don't think blogs get paid either. I would assume not. Maybe some are like, hey, pay us and we'll do this post or whatever, and I'm sure that happens. But yeah, reactors also don't go get paid. So that's why it's like, hey, this is a free thing. Should we just hit them up? And if it's a big enough band and we offer whitelisting, they'll most likely do a video in front of their audience, then sometimes get 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 views on it. So like, why not? If it's something as easy as a fucking group email to all the reactors at the same time, which we know we're getting, by the way. It's not like it's not like a specifically at hey Nick. It's like a hey everyone, this came out, you want to do a reaction, which is that's fine, it makes it easier, and but yeah, it's just why not? It doesn't cost anything. Takes you 5 seconds to write an email or send a press release, right? Once it's already done, and you're going to send it to everyone, blogs and radio and all that anyways. Just send it to reactors. So
do you feel ever that because obviously, like you said, you're not just a reaction channel, it's just a part of your channel, a lot of it is comedic stuff and whatever. Do you feel like though that sometimes maybe like when you do a reaction video, it can almost be maybe like a sort of safety net, like if you try some comedic type videos or whatever and they don't quite pan out the way that you would hope, because I would feel like in your position, if you maybe had some sort of slump, people change so fast, and trends change, and people's attention spans are shorter than ever, that if you had a string of video, maybe you were feeling uninspired or whatever, but it's like, well, I could put this reaction video out, and people will know exactly what to expect, and they dig it, and it's what I mean. So you can almost, like I said, a safety net, so to speak.
Yeah, but that also, when it comes to that, you are limited to the band, right? So like if you do a reaction, like right now, like I know if I do a reaction to Eskimo Callboy, which I actually uploaded today, I'm like, that'll do well. it's Eskimo Call or Electric Callboy, sorry. Like I know it'll do well. But the thing is also, when you do reactions to a point and it's very specific to a band, you are instantly limited to as big as that band is. A lot of times, unless you're unique with how you approach it, right? Unless you talk about a band, or I've taken different approaches too, where it's like, here's a small band. Well, I know they're not going to you know, their video might not do the best because they're a small band, but they're really fucking good. So how do I do this to make it so it's now kind of my thing, and I'm talking about the band, so it then provides traffic to them, but it's a Nick video. It's not a reaction to the band video, which I've done. I've messed with titling. I've done more commentary style things. And some of those videos will get 150,000 views, and the band's video originally gets like 10,000. And it's like, okay, that's great, right? But a lot of reactors don't do that. They're just like, here's the reaction to this. Well, you're not going to get higher views than the original song or go further, because people are finding your video mainly because they're just searching, you know, the band in the SEO, and then you show up after, right? So you're instantly limited in that sense. So like, it's not necessarily a safety net, because even where I'm at with reaction videos, I still have to add that originality, that spice, that commentary, that uniqueness, because I don't want to be limited by the band anyways, in any capacity. I want a video to do good because it's a good video, and not because the band's popular, right? So I still have to think. I still have to apply all the things that I would when I'm making original content. Anyways, so that's why it's not necessarily a safety net, even though sure, there's a band like Slaughter to Prevail releases a song. Like I doubt that would do poorly if I reacted to it. Right. It's like, I'm aware of those things, but at the same time, I don't think that would ever transcend actually making something that's more unique or original in the space, because you're just going to be limited by the band, by the medium, even sometimes, and also even conversion. Like, you do a reaction that's not going to convert as well as if you do something original and something that connects with people maybe a bit more, or is a bit more unique, right?
Well, the last thing I wanted to get into, because I know we're getting close on time here, is I wanted to talk TERMINA. We haven't really got into that. That's your band with Andy from Monuments as well. And I find the story of how you and Andy started working together. That's a great story, because you, as you said, were being petty or whatever, and yeah. I can't remember why. I know you added him on Facebook just out of pettiness or whatever. Yes. But what were you petty about?
Yeah, I saw him do covers and stuff, and he was getting more views than me. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking hate at this guy. I was like 5-6 years ago. Yeah, that's how it goes. So yeah, I hate at him like way back when. I was like, you fucker. And then he just messaged me. He was really nice. He was like, dude, I really like your video. I was like, oh, you're a cool guy, right? That's how our relationship started. It was amazing. I would never take it back.
So is this just like cause you know, been pretty active lately, but is it more of just a studio project? Are you ever going to get this thing out on the road, or you know, what's
we're not playing live. it's not a live band. It's not meant for it. I don't know if we could ship a Chris Turner wherever we go anyways, and I don't think anyone else can play those drum parts that are going to be on this album. So it's like, you know, if it's maybe like this one-off festival here and there, like, sure, you know, why not have some fun? But it's like the idea of touring, like, we don't need to, like, we're doing this DIY in a sense, and it's like we're in the space where we're lucky because we don't have to tour, even though Andy loves touring. Like, that's his, like, trust me, if we could tour, Andy would be like, yo, let's fucking tour everywhere with TERMINA. I'd be like, no. But also, like, we're just busy. Like, I don't have time to take off 2 weeks off what I do here. Like, that's crazy to me. I don't just to go on tour so we can lose money and play to not very many people, I'd assume, even wherever we go. Even if it was sold out, like, we're not going to be hitting fucking 5K cap shows and stuff. Like, it's not going to happen. So in that same capacity, we do a tour for 2 weeks or a month, and we play all these in front of all these people. And let's say we even open up for a great band. I can do like I feel like 3 videos that will get us just as much exposure than that tour will do a lot of the time. In terms of just getting eyes in front of us. So that's where I'm just like, okay, why are we touring? We're going to lose money. We won't, like, the band growth, we can do so much more at home to grow it than being on tour. It's just be more efficient by being at home, actually. Plus, we get to be home. And then what's left? Well, actually liking tour, and then networking, right? Obviously, networking and actually enjoying to tour. That's its own thing. I don't care to perform. It's not my thing. Andy loves performing. He lives with it. And the only thing I would do is to network and hang with bands and do that. Which, again, then you put in perspective all the work that takes to tour and do all this, and then all the cons of having to leave home and all that. We're fortunate we don't have to tour with it. So that's where I'm just like, we're not going to tour. That's kind of the long logical explanation that I come to, which again, like it's sometimes it's not that logical. It's just, well, you're in a band, your music, you want to play in front of live people and you want to do that and you want to get the experience, you want to travel the world. That's great. I personally don't value that as much because it's just, I like writing. That's my thing. Performing in front of people, if anything, makes me anxious because it's like I'm so focused on making sure it's good and like and the crowd's having a good time, and setting up and all that. Where I'm just like, I like writing. That's where I get my happiness from, much more than performing in any capacity usually.
Well, and it's interesting, and I I don't really know why it is, but it seems like a lot of there's a lot of YouTubers, whether it's in the rock and metal world or pop, whatever, but they're known for being on YouTube and they go out and tour, and having a ton of subscribers or followers or whatever does not always translate to ticket sales. Similar to super groups, I mean, there's bands out there that have crazy famous musicians from various different bands, and they go out and it's nobody really gives a shit, and it kind of blows me away, especially with some of them. There's been some interesting projects, whether it's social media type people or super groups, and the touring landscape is a strange place.
Yeah, it's a different medium, and it's like I do the consumer mindset of like, why would I want to go see Termina live? Like, what's special and unique that you see them live that you wouldn't maybe see another metal band, other than seeing the songs played live that you're maybe connected with, right? It's like, maybe Andy, just seeing how amazing he is live because he is an incredible vocalist. Like, sure, me as a guitarist, like I'm mid, like I'm like okay, like I'm not going to be shredding and throwing things that change your life when I play live, right? So I'm like, okay, like it's, what I mean? It's like, I don't think that if we did tour, we'd have anything super unique in the touring space or live show area to offer that would even be super worth it, other than the usual, well, people just want to watch us play or they want to meet us, which is super cool. And Andy literally would be the thing. Just people want to see, can Andy do that shit, which he can. He's fucking psycho. But other than that, it's just like, we write the songs not based on how they'll be live. We just write them because we like listening to them and we like how they sound.
Before we wrap this up, Nick, what do you have coming up?
Ooh, okay. I mean, the YouTube, Twitch, TikTok stuff is just always going, right? Like, so there's always content and whatnot, and I stream like 5 days a week on Twitch, so there's always dumb shit I'm doing on there. In terms of original music specifically, I mean, more Termina. We're working on it. We are working on eventually, like on an album, but we're not in a rush. We're not just like, hey, here's all the work we've put in for 2 years. Let's throw it out here. Like, we're gonna milk it a bit. We're gonna be like, here's a single with a video. Here's a single with a video every month or so. And then Nick Knock, same kind of thing. Like just working on more Nick Knock stuff and having that as a fun outlet every month or so. More covers with Will Ramos are coming, which is really fun because we did Recreant and that did too good. Like that shouldn't have done that well, but it did that well. So I was like, all right. And I'm still working on all that. I'm still working on a project with Phil from All That Remains, 2000s metalcore stuff. And essentially, I guess my bigger picture goal with all that stuff is like to have it on cycle. And I don't know if I can ever make it happen, but like, hey, this week, new Termina. Next week's Friday is going to be new Nick Knock. The week after that's Friday is going to be a cover with Will and me, and Friday after that's going to be new thing with me and Phil, right? That to me is like glory because I don't think anyone's ever done that, like pull that off with all their projects where it's like they turn it into content almost. Like every Friday, you're going to get an original song of some sort from a different project and whatever site it cycles on where they all work together. So that's the bigger picture, which I hope I'm going to be able to align eventually. But right now, they're all just working and coming out as we kind of finish them. But it's all in the works.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, that plus YouTube and Twitch and TikTok.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. Well, I wish you all the best and thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man.